Hi there. Welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. This is Bob from Creation Station. This is our weekly show where we talk about 4 or 5. I know, I always keep upping that number every week, it seems. Cool, fun tech stories in the news. I will not be talking like a pirate all day long because it's just too annoying for everybody. But somebody who is much better at this and not annoying at all, Stephen Grubb, the head of marketing for the library system.
Hey.
How are you doing, sir?
Good. How's it going, Bob?
Life is great.
I want to start out with saying happy birthday. And my gift to you is I'm not going to sing, but I'm just going to say happy birthday and you appreciate it.
Thank you. It's a very kind thing, sir. Tell everybody else what else you do as part of marketing besides welcoming all of our staff members' birthdays.
Yeah, I lead an amazing team who does our website. If you get emails from us, they write those and put those together. Our social media, any of our posters or palm cards or any of that stuff, they produce all of that. And with the idea of letting people know what the library does. That's our
And
mission.
it's all produced by real people, not AI.
Real people.
Yeah. We use tools here, but it's real people doing all this stuff for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Real people. So if you post something on social media, a real person sees that.
Sees it, reads it, reacts, etc. Yeah, we all do.
Absolutely.
Speaking of people, there was a thing in the news for everybody to pay attention to that this is no longer true, but we had a record number of people up in space this past weekend. Mm-hmm. I love this shot right here, by the way, of the space station crossing in front of the full moon. I'm just like, man. So there's 19 people that were in space all at once this weekend. Yeah. 6 extra people because of some issues. One, Polaris was up there as a private spacecraft out there floating around, and we have 2 extra people on the space station because of the issues with Starliner these past couple months.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make a quick note of that because the other cool story that we did cover, and also, by the way, as always, these links are in the show notes for you, so you can just go directly to go check these numbers out and see the names of each of those people up there. Polaris came back. It was a successful mission. They went up. They saw some cool things. Have you read any of the people's, those 4 astronauts' reactions, Stephen?
Yeah. And first of all, for 19 people in space, I'm going to age myself here, but I remember when there were 3 people in space. No, I remember 0, of course, too. But when there were 3 people in space, it was amazing. It was incredible. In fact, some people still think it was faked, but it was so amazing. But I think someday the number 19 will be quaint.
I hope so.
People will be living and working in space, and it will just be a common thing. But that ties in with the Polaris, and a billionaire funded this and made it possible. But it makes me wonder, can space travel be made less expensive and consistently more safe so that everyday people can do this and enjoy it?
It's close, depending upon your version of affordable. Mm-hmm. The original tourists who paid tickets to go up to the space station on the shuttle were paying millions and millions of dollars.
Right.
Now people are paying Blue Origin and SpaceX roughly $250,000 a ticket. So
that's not what I think of affordable. But
that's not what I think of. Yeah. Oh, hey, dear, guess what I got us for our anniversary? Yeah, no.
Hey, I wouldn't go to the Star Wars hotel when that was here at Disney. That was too expensive for me. So,
and this is only a few hours. But I agree with you. I think it's getting there, and this proved, because part of this mission was to prove that everyday people could do it, because 2 of those 4 people were just engineers who work at SpaceX. They're part of the SpaceX team. They work on all these projects and everything, but they had never been even to astronaut training before this happened. And also that is the other thing to remind everybody of, is the reason these people got on this thing was they went through, I think, 9 months worth of training to get on to be able to get into the capsule and go up there.
Yeah, you can't just jump in
Yeah.
a spaceship and hope
And
everything
make it
works
work.
out and make it work.
But
The other thing it mentioned too is
tell
that
me.
about the Starlink satellites and how they use that for communication,
Mhm.
and what a game changer that's going to be,
Yeah.
allowing communication where it wasn't
And
even
we have
possible
that.
before.
They're not Starlink, but we have another set around the moon now to do the communications at the moon with the Chinese space station that's up there, the Chinese lander that's up there. We've got some other things going on, and it's one of the few things still in the world that everybody is sharing and working together, making sure we can communicate up there and do stuff. It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, absolutely.
I thought that was interesting. The commander for the mission, he was like, it wasn't peaceful. It was stressful. This is like, yeah, you got so many things to think about, and then all of a sudden you're overwhelmed because you realize there's a faceplate in front of me, and that's it. There's no ship. There's no nothing. There's just my helmet in between me and space.
Yeah, that's got to be scary and just so exciting at the same time.
Oh yeah, I can't. Hopefully one day we will. I will. Well, I don't think so, but I'm not going to give up hope. We have another story, and Stephen brought this one to us. Thank you, because this is one of those very significant government is not evil stories, where government did a whole bunch of testing, whole bunch of examination of not what the problem was. Hearing aids are a solvable problem really well, but figuring out where the roadblocks were for why people weren't using them and why people weren't doing something about it. Tell us what you think about this whole idea.
So I think it's mixed for me. One, it's good that the FDA has allowed you to get hearing aids without a prescription now, which is pretty much, this is a version of a hearing aid.
Yeah.
That's good because that's going to make them less expensive and hopefully encourage more people to try them. At the same time, I have a personal experience with this. I've worn hearing aids for about 3 years now, and they are game changing. But I use the guidance of an audiologist who tested me, who knew what all the levels should be and got them exactly where they should be. And I go back to visit them, a couple times a year to make sure that. I think if people do this on their own, they may not be still getting the care they need. In addition to that, who wants to wear earpods any place you need a hearing aid? You're going to go to a restaurant and wear earpods. I mean, it's not very practical.
Yeah. I think one of the things, and Apple's Watch just got the update for sleep apnea. And I think you're right. These are things like, if you're using these as a consumer and it triggers the sleep apnea, or you put this in and all of a sudden, wait, I can hear a lot better now.
Yeah.
That should trigger you to say, oh, I need to go to the doctor and go have this checked up, go and have an official visit, have an official hearing test.
Yeah.
And this is on another podcast that I listened to, they talked about it. This is like picking up the glasses, the reader glasses at Walmart. You can pick them up and use them, and they're only a couple bucks. But if turns out you really need them, you should be probably going to get your eyes checked.
That's a really good comparison. I didn't realize how much I couldn't hear until I had hearing aids. You don't know what you're missing until you have somebody test you and try it. Yeah. And so I would just urge people, if they think they might have any hearing issues, to not wait.
If you have insurance, if you have insurance and you can do this, you should be going out and getting tested for all the various things. I've done the heart, the hearing, just to have a baseline now. So, in 15, 20 years, oh, wait, no, I'm done. I do my... It was actually the funniest thing. We went to the eye doctor with my wife, and she's like, oh, see, it's all those computers he's looking at. And he looked at her and said, no, he's old.
It's actually bad for your brain to struggle to hear.
Yeah.
There's scientific proof that it's bad for your brain over a long period of time. So don't wait. Don't wait. Get tested.
Go out there and get stimulated. It's okay. So now we're going to cover some social media type stories here, because I got marketing online, so we can do some fun things. And number one, okay. I know you're an iPhone person. I am not, so I don't even have access to this. There is a new social media app out that consists of one person, you.
Yeah.
So you sign up for this app. You give it all of your information and you pick who you want to talk to, and it creates or gives access to various AI chatbots to represent those people.
Yeah. So what do you think I did as soon as you sent me this
I
link?
know. Isn't this crazy?
I downloaded this app immediately because I
Yeah.
had to experience this.
Tell me.
And first of all, it's ironic that they call it social AI because you're not interacting with any other people. You couldn't be more
Yeah.
antisocial. But what it did, I created my little profile, told a couple things about me and what things I like. I made my first post, and within seconds, I had 10 fake friends telling me this and asking me that and commenting, some more realistic than others. And it was
So it's
really
simulating
bizarre.
having a bot respond.
Simulating having friends
Yeah.
is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's simulated friendships. So I think it's really bad.
And see,
it's really bad.
Without using it, it's hard. Obviously, it's hard to make a really good judgment on it. But from reading the reviews and reading about the details of what they did on their site, this is one I'm torn on.
Well,
Because
why
if
are
you are
torn?
because if you are someone who struggles with social interactions and you're having a problem with talking with people or doing things, or you are isolated for a different reason, for whatever reason, this might give you that thing to talk to someone in a safe space. Because one of the things they've tried very hard to do with this is to make sure there's not going to be abuse, there's not going to be inappropriate things. So whereas if you were out on another social media and you pour your heart out about this, you quite likely may be attracting trolls who will just make fun of it or put you down for that or this.
Right.
This seems to be much more geared towards giving you a different point of view, some different ideas, and not going to the, oh, well, that's a stupid idea. So I'm kind of torn on it. I mean, I'd much rather have real people out there doing it.
Yeah. Well, having used it just for a couple minutes,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't give the thorough analysis. I could see why this could be incredibly addictive. Not only that, but for social media is an echo chamber already because you only follow people.
That's my problem. Yeah.
You only follow people who already know who believe the same things for the most part. And so you hear what you want to hear. If you're the only person on this and you're the center of the universe, you're only going to hear what you believe. And I think that's dangerous.
Yeah. And I think you have to be very self-aware to know that, to ask the question instead of saying, tell me why I should do this. It's like, tell me why I shouldn't. Give me reasons why I am wrong, sort of thing. So it could be an interesting experiment to do as long as you understand it's an experiment and a tool and not a life.
It's like 10 AIs talking to you at once.
Yeah.
And to me, you could do the same thing. Like if you needed help with social interaction and that sort of thing, like you're talking about, you could do that one-on-one with ChatGPT, Gemini. Yeah. You could have that one-on-one conversation with an AI to get that help. This is too much. This is simulating real people when it's not. And I think it could be dangerous for some people.
How about particularly for teens?
Yeah.
Isn't that a nice segue?
That was a really smooth transition there, Bob.
So Instagram has new rules as of yesterday for teens. So if you have teenagers in your family, and by teenagers, they mean literal teens. So people from 9 through 14 are going to get hard, not bans, but really hard restrictions placed on them.
Throttle,
and 14 to 17 are going to get some softer ones, but still fairly strict. First, you tell me what you think about, because you have to interact with the library and we're reaching out to teens and people like that. And we're trying to reach these things. What do you think about this kind of?
So for the most part, when we market, as far as on social media, we are marketing toward adults. And like if we were marketing something that teens might enjoy, we're marketing with the hope that they'll tell their kids about it and that sort of thing. We don't market directly to teens because that whole area of under 18 is Yeah, we just don't market directly to youth on social media. Same thing for our emails. We have a family spotlight email. It's directed towards parents, not towards kids. So we feel comfortable marketing directly to parents,
Yeah.
but not necessarily directly to the kids, right?
And that's one of the things that this is going to totally block that anyway, unless your child intentionally friends the library
Hmm.
on Instagram, as because that's where this is really applying right now.
Yeah,
They will never see a post by the library.
right, right. Yeah.
So it's very good that way. But again, now this is one of those things where I'm like, besides all of the issues of how they're determining, we'll talk about how they determine it in a second.
Hmm.
Again, we're back to an echo chamber.
Hmm.
Because now I'm only seeing the things that I'm already allowing into my life, and I'm not going to see that, oh, wait, there's that cool science story, or there's that TikTok girl who does the raps on various types of fonts, and how is that ever going to break into somebody's feed to find out something interesting and fun and cool to hopefully enlighten?
So you share with me a couple of articles about that were tied into this, and
Yeah.
I've got to say I'm really torn, and I don't know how helpful that is, but I'm going to share my dichotomy of thought on this. First of all, it says the Surgeon General is wanting us to put a warning label on social media, especially for youth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, first of all, it's not going to accomplish anything, I don't think. But I saw the other viewpoint on there, Professor Christopher Ferguson, I didn't have my notes here, who says that he thinks that it's a moral panic, just like they did with the 80s with Dungeons and Dragons. They worried about the internet and all about that was shaping young lives, and video games and all that. Is this just another one of those about, oh my gosh, this is going to ruin the kids? And at the same time, if I had kids, I don't think I would want them to be on social media. Or if they did, I would want to make sure of what they were doing on there.
Yeah. And I think that's the key thing is can you know what they're doing in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we covered it on the show a couple of months ago when the proposed rule from the Surgeon General first came out, and they were looking for public comments. And my comment back then was, when you were a teenager, what was the best way to get you to go look and do something was to tell you not to do it.
Absolutely.
So how is this going to be any different with this sort of thing? Yeah. And the other article that came out at noon today, the FTC just released a brand new study, which the link is in our show notes. We're not going to have time to talk about this whole. This is a government study. It ain't quick. But very briefly, it tells us what Stephen and I already knew all along, and most people who've been using social media knew all along. If you aren't paying for something, then you're the product.
Yeah.
And they're tracking you, and they're doing all the stuff. And the more frustrating part about this one for me was they're basically ignoring recommendations, saying, oh, well, they're not rules, they're not regulations, they're recommendations. And so we're just going to do what we want anyway, which we kind of knew was happening anyway. But this is why you need to do these studies to prove, we knew this was happening, and yes, we were right.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably a very expensive study to tell us something that was already completely obvious to anybody who's on social media, I would think. But the negative impact on young users is concerning. At the same time, though, social media is now a part of life.
Yeah.
No matter what your age is, you need to know how to navigate you need to learn how to navigate social media at some point. And I'm thinking, if you keep kids completely off social media as they're a teenager, and then suddenly at 18 you're on social media,
no,
that's not going to work either. So I think the best thing I could think is parents do need to be involved in what their kids are doing online. Have some kind of a hand in it.
And here's my flip side for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want a teen account? Because if you have a teen account, you can't get advertising. They can't force anything into your feed. You only get what you exactly said you wanted, and that's it.
Yeah. I respect that something is free for a reason and that I have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And I know why I'm getting those annoying ads tailored just for me. Because that's the bargain that you make when you're using a free service. So
yeah, it's a challenge. It's a very interesting thing.
Yes, agreed.
I am not going to give a different website out because Steven's in charge of all of them. So go to broward.org/library.
There you go.
But tell us about the new thing that just happened out there with our library cards.
Oh, yeah. So we've been trying some new and different stuff this year. So for the 50th anniversary, we had a 50th anniversary card. We worked with the Florida Panthers to get a Florida Panthers library card. So that's what we've been working a lot with. And then now we have our new Sunny the Manatee card, which was named by one of our customers. And we've never done that before. So that was very cool and exciting to have somebody just come up with a name for that manatee.
And the reason I don't need to put a link to it is it's right here on our YouTube feed, folks. Just come to the same feed. If you're listening to this on the podcast feed, come over to the YouTube and subscribe and take a look right there and you'll see the video. She is a very nice young lady. And
we hit the jackpot. We didn't know. I mean, all we knew was the name she provided, but she is such an amazing young woman and it's so cool to hear.
And your team did a good job of that video.
Yes. I'm so happy with that. And to hear why she named it, I'm not going to say.
No, you got to go.
Why she came the name, you got to go watch the video. But wow, I couldn't be more happy with how that turned out. We're getting lots of positive comments about the card itself too.
And everybody needs some good stories right now. If there's a good story you want to see covered on the show, or a library or librarian you want to see featured, reach out. creationstation@broward.org. And we'll see everybody next week. Have a great time.
Bye, everybody.